Tonight, investigators say the suspect in Monday's deadly shooting rampage waited hours to confront a police officer.
At this point, I believe the motive was that he was a uniformed officer and he was deliberately targeted.
Investigators revealing chilling new details about the suspect and the events that unfolded that day as they try to piece together a motive. Plus,
that guy came in right here in front of me and shouted at me and started firing.
we speak to the survivor of the shooting in Milton, where the suspect opened fire on 3 people at an auto repair shop. And
he brings to this job an incredible record of policing when it comes to being an expert in guns and gangs.
Toronto has a new chief of police. Myron Demkew will officially take over duties in December. The 32-year veteran named today after an unprecedented 2-year search. We begin with breaking news from Mimico, where one person is dead and another has life-threatening injuries after a shooting. This is a look at the scene at Lakeshore Boulevard West and Mimico Avenue. Police were called at around 8:30 for sounds of gunshots and multiple people fighting. Officers located 2 men with multiple gunshot wounds. One of the men was pronounced dead at the scene. The other victim was rushed to a trauma center in critical condition. Police providing an update from the scene just minutes ago.
We've had our canine and ETF search the park for any suspects, and we've canvassed the area and have a large part of this park held off at this point as a scene for this shooting. Our homicide is taking over the investigation.
Police are asking for any witnesses to contact them. And there are chilling new details today on Monday's deadly shooting spree. Investigators say they believe the suspect was looking to target a police officer and spent 2 hours waiting to confront someone in uniform. Toronto Police Constable Andrew Hong was the first person killed that day. He was on his lunch break at a Tim Hortons in Mississauga when he was fatally shot. Lorena Redekop has more on what we're learning today.
Today, Peel Police released more photos of Sean Petrie. They say the 40-year-old drove to the Tim Hortons at noon on Monday, armed with a handgun, waiting more than 2 hours before killing Constable Andrew Hong.
At this point, I believe the motive was that he was a uniformed officer and he was deliberately targeted.
Constable Hong was a motorcycle officer, training police from other forces that day, on his lunch break at the time.
And had offered to get his colleagues, who he was training with, coffee. This is when the suspect ambushed and shot him at close range.
He says Petrie also tried to take the officer's gun, then took off, shooting another man and stealing his vehicle, driving to Milton, killing his former boss at an auto shop and shooting 2 employees. One is on life support and not expected to survive. Petrie left his own vehicle, a red Toyota Corolla, at the scene.
The fact that he's of no fixed address and an inference that we believe he was living out of his vehicle just complicates anybody's ability to know anything about him.
Police say Petrie had a long criminal record, including convictions for assault and armed robbery, and was prohibited from carrying a firearm. But his last conviction was 7 years ago. Family members police contacted hadn't talked to him in at least a year. Investigators are looking for help from the public.
Crucial to understanding why and how this happened will be his activity, his lifestyle, the individuals who he interacted with.
Police also answered questions about some of the information released on the day of the shooting. Police initially tweeted they were looking for a white man with a beard, later correcting the description. They defended the timing of the emergency alert, which came out more than 2 hours after Constable Hong was killed.
As soon as we were able to extrapolate that there was multiple incidents happening, it went through the immediate process. It couldn't get any quicker from the release, so I can allay any concerns that it was delayed.
The Special Investigations Unit has released preliminary findings saying there was likely a shootout between Petrie and police before he was shot and killed. Their investigation continues. The Tim Hortons behind me, it remains closed, and Mississauga's mayor says that employees are traumatized, but there is help available for them. Lorena Redekop, CBC News, Mississauga.
We're also hearing tonight from the man who survived the shooting at the auto shop in Milton. Shakil Ashraf, the owner of the shop, died. Now, the two employees that were also shot, one of them, an international student, is not expected to survive. Meanwhile, the other is now out of hospital and recovering. He described to Greg Ross what happened that Monday afternoon.
I was dealing with the customer at the front desk. I was hearing some sounds from the back, but I thought that are usual sounds that we do, usually does hammering wheels or welding. But when that noise gets closer, I realized, and that customer also realized, that it's not a usual noise. It's something, someone is firing. I tried to get up. Meanwhile, that guy came in right here in front of me and shouted at me and started firing. First fire was this one, which went through my leg, and the other fire that is this one that he attempted my head, and the third shot.
So this is the bullet hole right here in the desk that actually went through your leg. That bullet went off the desk here through your leg. He fired another shot, and it missed you. It almost hit your head, and it went through the desk on the other side.
Then third shot he made is again he attempted my head, that hit that guy, the other guy.
So he tried to hit you again, and that bullet struck the 28-year-old international student, and was that the one that injured him seriously?
Yeah, that's the one that injured him seriously, I believe. Yeah.
And so, what's going through your mind when he's pointing a gun and firing at you at close range?
What could be in my mind? Can you guess? I was just putting my head down on the desk, and I was just waiting to die, because there was no way to run out. Or when I realized that he got out of his bullets, when the gun starts doing click click click, then I got up and start running outside. But when I was running all the way out to that street, I saw one of my guys. He also already ran over there, and I talked to him about my boss. I asked, the first thing I asked him was my boss. How is my boss? He told me right away that he cannot survive that shot.
What kind of person was Shakil?
Oh, he was an excellent person, excellent boss, excellent brother, very caring, very kind, and taking care of everyone's needs in the shop and outside, and even for the customers as well. If some customers comes in sometimes that I don't have money right now, and I want to get that get that work done in my car because it's dangerous. He doesn't care about it. He always took his car in, did the work, and give it to him whenever you have money. Come back.
Police have now charged a man with impaired driving in connection with a crash that killed a York police officer yesterday. Books of condolence have been set up at each of York Region's 5 police districts. Members of the public are welcome to sign the books. Constable Travis Gillespie died Wednesday morning after the car he was driving to work was hit head-on by another vehicle. It happened on Major Mackenzie Drive near Warden Avenue. 23-year-old Howju Joe of Markham is now facing charges of impaired operation causing death and dangerous operation causing death. Toronto has a new chief of police. After a long 2-year search, the Toronto Police Services Board announced today Myron Demkiw will officially take over from interim chief James Raymer in December. Tali Ricci has more on his background and reaction tonight.
Myron Demkiw is a 32-year veteran of Toronto Police. He's currently the acting deputy chief of Specialized Operations Command. Demkiw put out a statement today thanking the city and said, "I'm honored to be the next chief of the Toronto Police Service. I'm deeply invested in the city of Toronto and its people, and I'm committed to the integrity and success of the Toronto Police Service." Demkiw said he is reserving further comment out of respect for anyone who is grieving after the shooting death of Toronto Police Constable Andrew Hong earlier this week. Board Chair Jim Hart also put out a statement calling Demkiw a dedicated public servant who's committed to building and enhancing trust with the diverse communities we serve.
He brings to this job an incredible record of policing when it comes to being an expert in guns and gangs, which of course is important to the city, counterterrorism, which keeps us safe, but a real commitment as well to the reform of policing, to the changes that we have to make to police differently.
But Beverly Bain with the No Pride in Policing Coalition says she isn't expecting any big changes.
With this particular chief, I mean, he has made it very clear that what his focus is. And I think that in itself should be disconcerting to all of us. There is already an escalation of policing in this city.
Acting Chief James Raymer said on Twitter he's extremely pleased that DEMQ is taking over. Toronto police say in his current role, DEMQ oversees over 1,200 officers and 900 civilian members. The former Toronto Police Services Board Chair described DEMQ as well-liked and respected, but he also questioned how long the search took.
My expectation was that the board was engaged in a much broader global type of search. So it's kind of curious that at the end of 2 years of search and elaborate community consultation with done by Environics, they ended up finding somebody right there in their backyard.
Raymer will continue in the top job until DEMQ takes over on December 19th, following what the board says will be a 3-month transition period. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
Let's go to Dalia Ashry now with a first look at the forecast. And Dalia, a nice sunny day, but with that crisp fall air.
That's right, Kelda. I mean, we have been experiencing those fall-like temperatures, especially in the evenings. I mean, yesterday night we experienced single digits. It was 9 degrees, but that is about to change tonight. We're going to get back into those double digits and a little bit more chilly and some dry conditions on the way over the next few days. The daytime high in Toronto today was 18 degrees, and it was quite windy, and that will increase throughout the weekend. Winds are 22 degrees and same cooler conditions, if not worse, in Barrie, 16 degrees. Now, what we can be expecting is some windy days ahead. In terms of precipitation, well, not really much until Sunday. That's when we're really expecting to see a risk of a thunderstorm and that rain, but for the most part, a dry stretch for the coming weekend. Now, tonight, temperatures will drop to 11 degrees, so a little bit cooler, like we were talking about, those fall-like conditions. And then tomorrow, 24 degrees and a windy day with winds gusting up to 22 kilometers an hour.
Thanks, Dalia. Fixing Ontario's beleaguered healthcare system was the focus of multiple press conferences today. Groups lining up to offer their solutions while critiquing the province's new law that will see hospital patients charge hundreds of dollars a day if they refuse a transfer to a long-term care home. Chris Glover reports.
From hospital wait times to ER closures, Ontario hospitals are in crisis, but a new law aimed at fixing them is hotly debated.
It's grotesque. I mean, it is grotesque, and we are appalled.
Today, health advocates argued it's unfair. Hospital patients will be charged $400 a day if they turn down a nursing home transfer.
I think it's going to end up with people dying in the community or in long-term care homes that they don't want to be in.
Doug Ford poured gasoline on the burning healthcare crisis.
In a separate press conference, the NDP argued long-term care homes are also dealing with staffing issues, and they're just as tough to get into, with 39,000 people on waiting lists.
What this government is doing may be to shuffle people around from one overextended system to another.
We're not providing the compensation that they deserve and they want to get. We're driving them away from our province.
The Ontario Medical Association also called on the government to take specific steps to beef up healthcare staffing, including licensing more foreign-trained physicians, but did not criticize the new long-term care plan.
We hope that these regulations would be implemented with flexibility, with compassion.
The government says patient preferences will be recognized in the decision to transfer, adding yesterday the new rule could free up about 400 hospital beds.
I'm actually quite excited about this. It is giving patients in long-term care the opportunity to be residents of a home where they're going to get a better quality of care.
If people refuse a home, the health minister said $400 a day was chosen to send a message.
That part is to frankly make sure that people understand a hospital bed is for an acute patient. It is not for a long-term care patient.
Utterly wrong. They are patients who deserve our compassion, our care.
Making a fist.
The Ontario Health Coalition says it won't stop fighting and may even launch a legal challenge. Chris Glover, CBC News, Toronto.
Tens of thousands of people from the UK and beyond have made the pilgrimage for a moment to pay their respects to Queen Elizabeth. The lineup is more than 6 kilometers long and the wait is up to 8 hours.
I bowed, and that wasn't too bad, but when I got to the doors, I turned and looked back, and basically I lost it. It was just that last look.
One last look.
It was amazing. I'm so glad I did it. Absolutely. And it would have been worth waiting twice as long.
The Queen will lie in state in Westminster Hall until her funeral service Monday at nearby Westminster Abbey. That's likely to be one of the biggest single events staged in Britain since the Second World War. Rehearsals are ongoing and the line of people queuing to see her coffin continues to grow. Some people have been camping near Westminster Abbey for several days to make sure they have a spot for the funeral. More than a dozen Canadian officials will be traveling with the Prime Minister and the Governor-General to the Queen's funeral in London. Former Governors-General Michael Jean and David Johnston are part of the delegation. So are former Prime Ministers Kim Campbell, Jean Chrétien, Paul Martin and Stephen Harper. Assembly of First Nations National Chief Rose Ann Archibald, ITK leader Nathan Obed, and President of the Métis National Council Cassidy Caron will also be at the funeral. Welcome back. Scarborough represent some of the area's best and brightest were honored today. Their names added to the Scarborough Walk of Fame. Ali Chiasson was at the big celebration at Scarborough Town Centre.
Lights, camera, Scarborough. See what I did there? Have you ever walked around the Scarborough Town Centre and realized you've been stepping on stars the whole time? Do not step on Deborah Cox. How could you turn your back on me? I don't think even the Scarborough Town Centre has enough room to commemorate all of the amazing talent that comes from this part of the city. But today, the Scarborough Walk of Fame added a few more names. Like social media turned TV sensation Lily Singh.
This is a huge honor. I wouldn't miss it for the world. I truly uprooted my schedule to be here, and I was like, I can't miss it. So this is a huge honor for me.
Then two-time Olympic gold medalist Natalie Spooner. What a year you've had, grabbing your second Olympic gold medal, your mom-to-be, and now you're getting honored in your hometown. What does this mean to you?
It's pretty crazy.
Natalie Spooner in alone! Scores!
I think it definitely takes you back to your youth and kind of, your roots and how you got to where you are, and all the success. It's definitely a lot because of Scarborough, because of my family, all the support I've felt and had throughout the years.
And the way funny Jerry D.
This is one of the nicest things I've had in my career as far as the recognition.
Jerry D!
Something my kids and my girls love to shop, so I'm sure they'll be at the mall at some point. It's something that will be there forever. I was joking with Natalie Spooner that I'm going to tell my kids this is my grave where I'm buried.
There's a diverse range of talent represented here, beyond just this ceremony. I mean Scarborough as a whole. What is it about Scarborough?
I think it's just the authenticity and the down-to-earth nature of the people that allows them to succeed in areas beyond probably their own expectations sometimes and become people that are known around the world.
Scarborough's the best. You heard it here, Scarborough's the best. I think it just has the recipe to inspire greatness. I think it's so diverse. It has so much culture, so much rich culture. It's all about resilience. I won't lie, growing up when I told people I was from Scarborough, sometimes they look at me funny, but I think we have such a resilience and we stick together and we have such community. I think it's just the recipe to inspire greatness.
Scarborough, stand up. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
And you are looking at a live shot of the Toronto skyline, clear tonight and staying that way overnight. Currently only 15 degrees in the city. Let's go back to Dahlia now. And Dahlia, some cooler temperatures the last couple of days, but warmer weather is making a comeback as we get into the weekend.
That's right, Kelda. I mean, we've had some fall-like temperatures, especially these past few days, especially in the evenings. It dropped down to single digit last night. We're back to those double digits tonight and over the next few days. But we are going to be seeing some summer-like conditions over the weekend, which we'll get to in a bit, and that's because of the humidity. But first, let's talk about the daytime highs in Toronto. 18 degrees, Windsor 22 degrees, a little bit cooler out in Barrie, 16 degrees. Now, in terms of wind, well, it will be strong tomorrow, and even when you're heading to work or dropping off the kids, we could be seeing winds gusting up to 22 kilometers an hour and increase by around 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then it will start to get a little lighter and easier by 12 p.m. And then again, it should be picking up by the evening up to 20 kilometers an hour and then 25 kilometers an hour overnight. So a few windy days to come, and it will really start to pick up even more and more and then start to calm down, especially by Saturday afternoon. Now let's get right into the into the rain. We are expecting some rain by Sunday. For Friday and Saturday, dry conditions, but what we will be seeing is that humidex factor, and that's because of the low pressure, but also there's some warm front that's going to be making its way into Ontario, and that means that we have more of that humidity giving us those summer-like conditions, and you factor that in with the breeze on Sunday, that will be giving us some potential storms on Sunday. So just look forward to that. Prepare your umbrellas as you head into Monday as well. Temperatures will cool down overnight tonight, 11 degrees, partially cloudy, a little bit cooler out in Mississauga and Markham, but overall a cooler night across the Golden Horseshoe. And then as we head into the next few days, like we were saying, those dry conditions, it's mostly Sunday and Monday when we'll be seeing rain, but expect temperatures to reach 30s because of that humidex factor. So stay hydrated over the weekend, but still a great chance to head outdoors and enjoy mostly Friday and Saturday, those dry conditions. Kelda?
Thanks so much, Dahlia. The TTC is kicking off its annual fundraising campaign for the United Way ahead of an open house this weekend.
A car that we've used to use a long time ago, back in the 50s and 60s, and it's been retired, so we've restored it and we keep it in here and use it for events such as this.
The public is getting a rare behind-the-scenes look at the transit agency's Hillcrest complex. The tour includes a look at some historic streetcars and buses, along with a look at how the TTC plans its streetcar routes and how it does its track repair. And that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. Dwight Drummond has your next local newscast tomorrow at 6. Bar Morelli has you covered at 11. Have a fantastic night, everyone.